What if I told you there's an invisible map in the financial market, a map that doesn't appear in your bank account, but in your behavior, and that it only starts to take shape when you approach $250,000? Have you ever stopped to think about why some people seem to find hidden doors, silent opportunities, and shortcuts that no one else sees, while others spend their entire lives walking in circles? Maybe you felt this way. The impression that there's a code behind wealth building, something that separates those who truly advance from those who remain stuck at the same level. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover might surprise you. The truth is, this hidden map has no lines, no legends, and no treasures marked with an X. It's made of attitudes. It's born when the investor begins to abandon beginner habits and adopt behaviors that bring them closer to the world of 250K, that environment where the shark door finally begins to open. And yes, very few people talk about this. Most believe that the number comes before the mindset, but it's precisely the opposite. The market only reveals its secret roots when you prove, with consistent actions, that you are ready to walk them. Have you ever experienced this? That feeling that something is changing inside you, even before it changes in your bank statement? It's as if there's an internal compass that, for years, remained completely extinguished. But as you maintain discipline, consistency, and maturity in the face of risk, that compass begins to awaken. Little by little, it points to directions that previously went unnoticed. Off-market opportunities, conversations that only happen between those who truly understand the game. Signs that show you're entering territory that's not just financial, but behavioral. And when you realize this, everything changes. The way you see investments, the way you observe the market, and even the way you deal with time and emotions silently changes. This is the map that almost no one sees, because almost no one perseveres until it appears. It demands more than money. It demands depth. It demands that you leave behind haste, immediacy, and the illusion that there is a shortcut. It demands that you develop the ability to endure the journey when nothing seems to be happening. And that's exactly where many stop. But those who remain are the ones who begin to see the outline of this hidden map taking shape. What you will discover here is precisely why some doors open only for a few, and why it has nothing to do with luck. So take a deep breath, because from this point on, you're going to start seeing something that's always been right in front of you, but invisible to hasty eyes. And that's just the first part. Now that you understand what triggers this invisible map, we need to go even deeper to understand when it truly begins to reveal itself. And before we delve into this deeper part, let me ask you something very sincerely. If everything I've said so far has sparked something in you, a memory, a doubt, an intuition that perhaps you were already feeling this map forming, share it in the comments. Tell me what touched you the most, or at what point in your journey you realized you were starting to think differently about investing and building wealth. Your experience might illuminate someone who is one step behind you now, and perhaps doesn't even imagine they are about to see the first lines of this hidden territory. If this topic resonates with you, please give it a like. It may seem like a small thing, but each like pushes this video to more people who, like you, are trying to understand why some doors remain closed while others begin to open in silence. That's how this message reaches those who truly need to hear it today. And of course, if you feel this type of content resonates with your current life situation, subscribe to the channel. Your subscription is what keeps this space alive. It signals to me that it's worthwhile to continue bringing up topics that no one talks about, but that make all the difference in the journey of those who are building wealth with awareness and maturity. Don't think of this as a request, but as part of the journey. Every comment, every like, every new subscription helps keep this community of conscious investors united, active, and evolving together. And now that you understand the first outline of this invisible map, it's time to move on to the next layer. Because what comes next reveals why some paths only open up when you transform yourself first, even before your wealth gets there. It's curious how many people believe that the map only begins to emerge when the statement finally shows a higher number, as if the 250K were some kind of magic portal. But the hidden truth is that this territory begins to form much earlier, in an almost silent, almost imperceptible way. Like those internal changes that no one sees, but that completely transform the journey. It is at this point that many get lost, because they look for external signs when, In reality, the first traces of this map appear within their own mindset. It's as if the market tests your ability to interpret nuances before revealing the clearest routes. You begin to realize that impulsive decisions no longer make sense, that shortcuts take you further away than closer, and that consistency is not just a strategy. It's a filter that separates those who are ready from those who still need to mature. Emotional discipline is one of the pillars of this hidden territory. At first, it seems like just a recommendation from finance books, but over time, you understand that it's what sustains you during weeks when everything seems to fall apart. While many react to the slightest market noise, you learn to breathe, observe, and interpret the real impact before acting. Gradually, this discipline creates a kind of internal compass, something that points you in the right direction even when everything outside is confusing. Most never access this compass because they give up before training their own perception, and without perception, there is no map. And then comes the consistency of investment, which, at first glance, seems like just a technical practice, but reveals something much deeper. It shows that you are committed to the long term. The market observes this, not in numbers, but in attitude. Consistency tells the world, and yourself, that building wealth is a transformative process, not a race for quick results. It is at this moment that the secret language of the market begins to take shape between the lines. You start to see patterns, understand the inner workings, identify noises that previously confused you. The map begins to emerge, not as a ready-made drawing, but as a code that you finally learn to decipher. The rejection of shortcuts is another hallmark of this invisible territory. When you realize that every irresistible shortcut has the SDI, same structure, immediate promise, disguised risk, and inevitable regret, something inside you changes. It's as if the brain starts operating in another mode, automatically rejecting anything that deviates from the main route. This change is subtle, but powerful, because it signals that you understand that shortcuts never lead you to where you really want to go. They only take you away from the inflection point, that curve that almost no one reaches because almost everyone gets tired before it. And then there's the understanding of real risk. This point completely transforms how you see the market. You stop fearing risk and start analyzing its nature. You stop asking, is this dangerous? And start asking, is this aligned with my path? Few people reach this level of discernment because understanding risk requires calm, time, and maturity. When this piece finally fits, the invisible map becomes clearer. You realize that it's not about avoiding risk, but about engaging with it, understanding where it strengthens you and where it weakens you. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this subject because it is precisely when these behaviors begin to align that the previously blurred map reveals paths that were hidden from everyone. It is at this point that the journey ceases to be merely numerical and becomes strategic, emotional, almost intuitive, as if each step had a new layer of meaning. And when this perception is activated, everything around seems different, as if you had crossed a silent border that many try to reach, but few manage to maintain. Before we continue, leave a comment below. I'm on this journey too. When these first outlines of the map begin to emerge within you, something even more interesting happens. The hidden routes, those that seemed completely unreachable, begin to reveal themselves in small details. It's as if the market itself observes your silent transformation and begins to adjust its focus, allowing you to see paths that have always been there, but obscured by the fog of haste, fear, and lack of consistency. The hidden truth is that when you start acting like someone who already lives in the territory of 250K, the environment around you changes even before your balance follows suit. It's not about elitism, but about signals that the market recognizes and responds to almost instinctively. Suddenly, off-market opportunities appear as if they were placed in front of you on purpose. Nothing glaring, nothing explicit, just discreet invitations from people who notice you're playing a different game. These are the chances that don't appear in ads, that don't emerge on open platforms, but that circulate among people who value mindset, discipline, and conscious decisions. You realize you've entered a level where trust is built more behind the scenes than through your words. And it's precisely at this point that many people get scared, because they think this type of opportunity is reserved for a privileged few, when in reality, it responds to attitude, not wealth. Natural mentorship opportunities begin to emerge without you even asking. More experienced people start to notice you, listen to you, and guide you in small conversations that seem casual but hold powerful revelations. It's as if the market, perceiving your growing maturity, decides to send you guides who previously wouldn't have approached you. These mentorships don't come with contracts or formalities. They arise organically, almost as if you've been invited to sit at a table that previously seemed too distant. And when these dialogues happen, something inside you confirms that you're on the right path, because you realize that your inner transformation is being recognized externally. Silent invitations also appear. These are messages that don't reach just anyone. They are doors that open discreetly, as if testing who is truly prepared to cross them. You feel you've gained credibility, not because you said something extraordinary, but because your actions show consistency. And this credibility is one of the most valuable currencies in the market, a currency that cannot be bought, only built. It unlocks access to better products, more aligned investments, and opportunities that demand discipline, vision, and above all, emotional maturity. These opportunities don't appear for those seeking shortcuts, because the market itself knows that shortcuts produce instability. And then the map, the one that was once just an internal sketch, expands. The roots begin to connect. You see patterns where you previously saw chaos. You perceive logic where you previously saw turbulence. Paths that seemed inaccessible now make sense, as if you had learned a new language. The language of strategic decisions, of behind-the-scenes work, of doors that open silently. The map reveals paths that were hidden beneath the fog, and this revelation is not just financial. It is emotional, behavioral, and deeply aligned with who you are becoming. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because when this map finally takes shape, you discover that it doesn't just show roots. It also shows limitations, silent errors, and invisible roadblocks that bring many down before they even get close to the door. And understanding this is crucial to continuing to move forward safely, clearly, and consistently. Before we continue, leave a comment below. That makes sense to me. When these roots begin to emerge, many people imagine they have finally found the secret, as if simply seeing the map were enough to advance without obstacles. But it is precisely here that one of the most delicate parts of this journey comes in. The missing link. That point that separates those who truly cross the threshold from those who return to the beginning without realizing it. The hidden truth is that most don't fail due to a lack of intelligence, technical knowledge, or analytical ability. The downfall happens much earlier, behind the scenes of mindset, where 3 silent saboteurs bring down almost everyone. And it's impressive how they repeat themselves, generation after generation of investors, like shadows that feed on haste and fear. The first saboteur is impatience. It doesn't arrive shouting. It arrives like a whisper. A person starts well, consistently, disciplined, but when progress seems slow, when results don't appear at the speed the ego desires, the mind begins to manufacture anxiety. This is where many abandon the process, change strategies, jump from method to method, like someone trying to fit the wrong key into every lock. Impatience destroys the invisible construction the investor has been building within themselves, because they don't understand that time is an essential part of transformation. It's that old conflict between wanting quick results and being willing to continue even when nothing seems to move. And this is where many get lost, because they don't realize that the map is formed precisely during this period of apparent silence. The second saboteur is uncontrolled emotions. No market forgives a racing heart, and its impact is devastating. With every fluctuation, every piece of news, every noise that echoes louder than it should, the person makes decisions that are not linked to strategy, but to fear. It's like trying to cross a narrow path during a storm without learning to read the signs in the clouds. Uncontrolled emotions create storms that don't exist and destroy the clarity that the investor needs to keep moving forward. And the most curious thing is that nobody notices this lack of control happening all at once. It infiltrates slowly, starting with small doubts, then growing with regrets, until it becomes a cycle that sabotages any possibility of real growth. Without emotional control, there is no room for profound revelations, because fear takes the place of perception. The third saboteur, perhaps the most treacherous, is the constant switching of strategies. People jump from one method to another like someone changing direction with every new gust of wind. Today, it's variable income. Tomorrow, it's fixed income, then day trading, then holding, then something else someone promised as a magic formula. This instability prevents any maturation. It's like planting a seed and digging it up every day to see if it has sprouted. There is no consistency, no root. The hard truth is that the market observes all of this. It understands who is willing to walk and who is still looking for shortcuts disguised as wisdom. And that's why the map doesn't appear to just anyone. It doesn't reveal itself to those who run, but to those who can bear the weight of the walk. This phrase carries an impact that few truly absorb because it exposes exactly where most stumble. And it's at this point that many give up without realizing they were just a few steps away from crossing an invisible frontier. The market demands evidence of preparedness, not declarations of intent. It responds to attitude, not desire. It opens doors for those who sustain the process, even when it seems like nothing is happening. And it is precisely this part that differentiates those who reach the 250K mark from those who spend their entire lives going in circles, searching for answers where there is only noise. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because when these saboteurs are finally understood and confronted, a new layer of the map is revealed, showing not only roots, but also limits and responsibilities that few perceive until they get close to the door. Before we continue, write this down. That makes sense to me. When you understand this missing link and realize that saboteurs don't appear to destroy you, but to test your preparedness, something inside you finally changes. It's as if a new layer of your mindset opens up, revealing that the invisible map was never a prize given at the end, but a direct reflection of who you are becoming along the journey. And it is precisely at this point that the question many people silently ask arises, okay, but how do I start activating this map from now on, even without having reached 250K? The answer is simple, yet profound. It's not in the numbers, it's in the attitude. It's not in the glitz of opportunities. It's in the solidity of the decisions you make every day, even when no one is watching. Consistency is the first step, and perhaps the most challenging. Because being consistent on good days is easy, anyone can do it. The real impact happens in the difficult weeks, those in which the market fluctuates, the news weighs heavily, and the mind tries to pull you back into old habits. That's where you prove whether you're ready or not. Consistency creates roots, creates structure, creates maturity. It's the invisible bridge between where you are and who you need to become, to see the paths the market hides behind the fog. And that's why so many stop. Because maintaining the pace when everything around seems disorganized requires an inner strength that can't be bought. It has to be built. Small but disciplined contributions are another marker of this silent transformation. They show that you understand the value of the journey, that you are not looking for shortcuts, and that you understand that true wealth is born from accumulation, not just of assets, but of attitude. Regular contributions tell the market, I am here, regardless of the scenario. And almost symbolically, the market responds by opening small cracks, allowing you to see nuances that previously seemed inaccessible. This discipline creates an internal rhythm that connects intention and action without noise, without anxiety, without rushing. Emotional resilience is perhaps the most enigmatic element of this hidden truth, because it's not just about controlling reactions. It involves interpreting the world with greater clarity. Shielding yourself doesn't mean ignoring risks, but observing everything with the calm of someone who knows that storms pass, but bad decisions leave scars. When you strengthen this resilience, eliminating emotional excesses becomes natural. Fear diminishes. Euphoria reduces. Decisions, once impulsive, become calculated, stable, conscious. The sensation is almost physical, as if you had finally found balance within the chaos. And then comes the point that separates those who activate the invisible map from those who remain. Trapped in the same cycle, resisting the noise, because noise exists for everyone. Opinions, predictions, shallow analyses, and promises of quick enrichment are constant waves trying to throw you off course. Resisting the noise is an act of maturity, of profound transformation. It's living proof that you're no longer adrift, but guiding your own journey with clarity. And this is where the magic happens. When you start acting like someone worth 250K, the map appears before you have 250K. This phrase isn't motivational, it's observational, Behavior precedes results. Posture opens doors that the balance wouldn't yet open. That's how the market works, and that's why so few reach this point. Because they haven't understood that the map responds to mindset, not the bank account. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because there's a final layer to this process. A layer that shows how this invisible map not only reveals paths, but also redefines who you become in the process. And when that realization arrives, the journey changes forever, because you understand that it was never just about the money. It was about the kind of person you needed to become to achieve it. Before we continue, leave a comment below. I'm on this journey too. If you've made it this far, you can tell this topic really resonated with something important within you. And honestly, it's that kind of connection that makes it all worthwhile. So, if this content helped you see your own journey more, clearly, subscribe to the channel to continue walking with me through these conversations that almost no one has, but that completely change the way we think, decide, and build our future. Take advantage of this opportunity and leave a like, not as an automatic gesture, but as part of this dialogue we created throughout the video. And if you want to show me that you stayed with me until the end, comment below. I'm with you until the end. I will know exactly who is truly committed to this transformation. And if you want to delve deeper into this mindset and understand other routes on this invisible map, there's a video here that perfectly complements everything we've discussed. Click and continue reading there.